to split a movement. Well to go.
I'm trying to get crews of supporters up to Belfast to help Jerry in his campaign next weekend and the May weekend. So anybody who wants to come, please come and see me afterwards. I'll take your names. If you want to stay overnight, comrades and friends in Belfast will look after you, give you accommodation. But it's really important that we get up there and show us strength and support for Jerry, and likewise for anybody who can do it for Adrian. So come and see us afterwards if you slot into any of that. We'd be delighted to have you. And if you're not a member or people before profit, you don't have to be to go to Belfast, but you'd be crazy not to be. So join them today.
Okay, thanks very much, Breed. So we're going to open it up if people want to make comments, ask questions. Okay.
Hi, my name is Father Rand. I'm from Rathmines, and I just want to say one thing I noticed at the march was that there was almost as many Greek flags as there were tricolours. And what does that symbolise? That symbolises a rising resistance right across Europe, right? And people identifying with it. And I was in Scotland briefly to give during the referendum. A lot of the same issues about who owns natural resources, whose society, who should run society, all these things. Those same arguments are rising up right across Europe. And in 2015, it's despicable that we should be expected to work longer for less, for poorer conditions than our parents' generation. And the key thing that this mass resistance is emerging is not only resisting the attacks of the rich and the powerful, but also putting forward a very strong message that another world is possible, a better world is possible, and there's a far better way that we can run society to benefit the mass of people and not just the Dennis O'Briens. And that we shouldn't put up with austerity and the markets and all this because they tell us so. Because we have the technology, we have the willpower, we have the strength, we have the intelligence, and we have the heart to do things better.
I think today was a fantastic day. About 10,000 people, that would be the equivalent of 100,000 in London. 100,000 in London, you'll hear all about it. But there was one party missing today from the demonstration. We have to be honest with each other. Sinn Féin were missing, right? Now, why are Sinn Féin missing? Because they do not support a boycott campaign, right? This is a party that for 20 years was willing to support an armed struggle against the law, so why can't they support a boycott campaign even if it's against the law? And I'm saying all that because we have to be honest, right? There are people in this movement that think the main thing we have to do is to get Sinn Féin into government, get the left hacking in behind them, and we all keep quiet about this. I'm not going to keep quiet about that. So if you don't support a boycott, you actually want to put it down. And don't let anybody tell you, in the name of unity, shut your mouth. I've heard that too many times in my life, right? And the fact of the matter is, if a party is willing to let go 20,000 people in Northern Ireland, that's somebody who's beside me walked out because we said that, that's the truth. And if they're willing to say we have to do it because the British government said we had to do it, would they not, when they're put under pressure by the IMF, say the exact same thing? And this is why, I want to finish on this, this is why we have to have a genuine left. We want the Anti-Austerity Alliance, People for Profit, Claire Daly, all these people to come together. Let's get real and let's have a real left.
John Lyon. I just wanted to say, fair play to John Lyons today for his speech from the platform. He made a great speech in general, but particularly for calling for a yes vote on May the 22nd. It's very important. It's one of the important reasons why we need people before profit and we need a genuine left. Right? We don't just say no to the water charges. We don't just say the easy things that everybody agrees on. We also challenge oppression and bigotry across the board. Right? And it's very, very important in this country that in the next coming months we beat the bullies over Irish water, but we also beat the bigots over the question of marriage equality. And that's a reason, another reason why you should join People Before Profit. because our candidates will not engage in the politics of division or scapegoating, whether it's against LGBTQ people, whether it's against immigrants or travellers or whoever it may be. So that's another reason why you should build people before profit and take them on across the board.
And Angels is busy with finishing up and he's mentioned we're doing small they're owned by a company called Mondelez International. Mondelez is focused on snacks, chocolates, coffee, massive international, and I made $666 million in the last quarter of last year. But what they did last year in Mondelez International, they set aside a pot of $3.5 billion severance pay for the next 3 years. They're restructuring all their operations across the world, which means that they're going to privatise, they're going to try move as much of their operations to cheaper countries where their workers will work for less and good quality, decent people, and that's what's happening in Coolock, the cabbies plant there down in Tallis, and down in Rathmore in County Kerry. And you were looking at this and you were listening to the 11 workers and representatives, and they were saying that at the same time that this is happening, and management haven't engaged with one bit, and we're just rooting. There's the TD for that area, my area, and it's also the Minister for Jobs, who set up some early indicator of job losses. He hasn't even acknowledged receipt of their communications with him. They have rung him, they have called him, they've emailed him, and he hasn't said, there's much knowledge receipt of your email. He doesn't care, right? The management don't care. And what they're doing at this very same time that they're proposing to lay off 160 workers, people, some of them families, 3 generations of one family have worked in that plant in Coolock. They're also hiring temporary staff. They're hiring temporary staff. They're changing the shift patterns to, instead of the different shifts that suit people who have families, who have houses and homes to run, they're going to have just 12-hour shift patterns from now on. And all the payments, the bonus payments, the overtime, the overtime, all that's going to be scrapped. But they are literally doing that, hiring these temporary workers on, who are going to be basically working the same, the same kind of pay as the same kind of terms and conditions. So they've literally, this company just struck me there as I was listening to Richard. They're planning for 3 years down the line, 10 years down the line, how to maximise their profit. That's what they're doing. They're going to have proper implications for people on the ground in their area. They're right across the board. They're seeing it in homes, and they're seeing it in the work that they're going to be doing for 10 years down the line. Transport system is quite close, it'll be absolutely disastrous. So the thing that strikes me is you can look at all these different issues and you can get capitalism, they're rich, they're powerful, they're influential, and they're always plotting and planning, and they can hire people to do investigations and hire people to do all that strategic money. But all we have, I believe, is that we are the immense majority. We are the majority of people. Across the board, we have the working class, and when we do begin to operate, we can begin to challenge them, at least challenge them, and try to stop them doing some of the things that they're doing, like trying to push the water and trying to use our water supply. So the one thing that strikes me with this water supply, when you get 10,000 on the street for short notice, it's not too much reading. You get 10,000 on the street, it's barely a deal of dropping in and you get that many people. It's amazing. It really is amazing. I thought it was called too early by the non-payment banker, but luckily we got away with it. But it just shows the strength of feelings that people will come in to big numbers. But what I need, and what we've seen in our area over the past couple of weeks, knocking on doors, just talking to people when people talk about leaving on the water charges, just chatting. Very strong non-payment messages. But there will be 1 or 2 doors who are a bit hesitant. So I think what we need over the next 6 to 12 months, people in every parish, village, every part of the country, they would maybe want to place a week talking about how fantastic this mass movement of people are and yes, we do have to concentrate on every day. So I do think I would encourage everyone who isn't already a member of people to get involved in your own area because it's crucial. We need it, and together we will change this country.
Yeah, well done.
The guy there just standing behind John Molyneux. Sorry.
Just go.
Move up.
Move in the disco.
Okay.
There's actually a myth out there about Sinn Féin that are working men party, right?
Sorry?
No, I'm saying that there's a myth out there, right, that needs to be put to bed once and for all about Sinn Féin, right? Now, what they're actually imposing up the north, right, they are opposing down here, which in my opinion makes them the biggest fucking hypocrites in the lot. I mean, I voted for Sinn Féin in the last election, right, because I wanted to see change. But except for what I've seen, it's just the same old, same old. Like people have said it to me, oh, Sinn Féin or this and Sinn Féin or that, and I pointed out to people and thought, well, if Sinn Féin is so great, it's alright. Why are they fucking installing water meters up the north?
Yeah.
True, well done.
Yeah.
You see that they're the biggest hypocrites in the lot.
Yeah.
And I find, okay, controversial thing to say, like, but a lot of the people that have said that to me, how great they are on Cork are fucking brain dead.
Thank you.
Well done, fair play. Well done.
Sorry, buddy.
Quiet down. Yeah.
Basically, in relation to the language that the group is using in relation to the working class, I think it's a lower middle class issue as well. They've really suffered due to austerity, and so in order to build the movement and to create more resources, I think we need to be conscious of the language that we use, because any of the protests I've gone to, I keep hearing working class, working class, working class. But as I said, it's a middle class issue as well, especially the lower middle classes.
My name is Amy. I'm not a member of People for Profit, but I would regularly attend meetings in Sligo. And I think it's really important that for the people that are here today, like, because they're obviously really active and you're calling for positive change, and it's really important. But I suppose one thing I've learned from listening to People for Profit members is theoretically you're saying the right things, you're calling for the right measures that are needed to restore balance. But I suppose what I'm challenging today to think about and put a bit of effort into doing is create practical solutions. It's well and good to say the right thing, but the politicians that we've experienced historically have always said the right things, but they haven't done the right thing. So it's about just create practical solutions so that we can have a better health system, we can have a better education system, we can provide for the needs of our people and for other people. So it's just about practically what are we going to do.
Well done, well done.
Deirdre Wadding, Wexford People for Profit. I'd actually like to respond to that, because I think People Before Profit, and I would say above all other groups, are actually doing the practical stuff on the ground. And I think, certainly down in Wexford, we're out there and we pick up absolutely everything. I'm on the council, and people have said it's the first time they've seen a councillor actually out on the estates, on the streets, marching with people, and doing what we say we do. We always say about People Before Profit, it does exactly what it says on the tin. As regards coming up with practical solutions, we have got an alternative economic policy. We have got the facts and figures to back up. It's not like throwing things out in the air, let's get rid of water charge, let's get rid of property tax, let's fight TTIP. We actually have got concrete facts and figures as to how this
expenditure could be drawn back and where we would take it from. Clearly from a wealth tax, from moving the tax bands around, from putting the USC for under 35,000 earners, and the corporation, enforcing the corporation tax. And all of that is costed. So if you take a look at Think Before Profits alternative budget, going back to budget time last autumn, you'll see those facts and figures. So I think the difference with us, and maybe the likes of Sinn Féin, is that we are actually doing what we say we will do, and we are out there on the street with people. To me, like when I ran for the council, it was like, here's what we were doing anyway. Whether or not I actually had been successful in that, and I'm sure Mickey or any of the others say the same, whether or not I was going to continue doing the same thing, and now I am. And the establishment obviously is going, but you can't be telling people to break the law, and you can't be going, why is it a surprise? This is what we always said we'd do, and we are still doing the same thing that we do as activists when we get into positions like local councils or like Richard in the Dáil. So I think that's the difference, and I think the proof actually is there in what we do, not in what we say. As regards the Sinn Féin thing, I personally am working very well with our local Sinn Féin grassroots. The grassroots in Sinn Féin are at a bit of a remove, I think, in a lot of places, and particularly in Wexford, from the leadership. So my question is, you know, can we pull any of those guys? Can we pull them more towards us? I think that may be more likely to happen when they actually get in, because they will get in. Some of the grassroots will fall away, because for a lot of them, let's say for instance, a coalition with Fianna Fáil would be a complete deal breaker. So I think we need to box clever about how we handle the whole Sinn Féin issue. Clearly, we have massive questions. We have massive questions about them standing over austerity measures in the north. We have finally, they've come on board with the repeal the 8th. But we do have huge questions. And so what I always try and do is make a distinction between how the grassroots are operating on the ground in their local areas and how the leadership is directing them. And I think one way or another, we'd rather see them than Fine Gael or Labour or Fianna Fáil. But we can't stand over. So this is where our red line issues come in. And this is where we're asked about how we stand with regard to Sinn Féin. I think the thing is about, we have a list of red line issues. If they could come on board with red line issues, we can work with them. Probably we don't believe they will, and I think the chances are they won't. But we can kind of handle that in a way that we can take the higher moral ground, if you know what I mean. And we stick to our principles, and we don't compromise ourselves, our integrity, our vision, or who we are as a left-wing party. So I think that's kind of where it stands. But it is absolutely essential that we do try and build some kind of a broad, united left-wing platform, because we're going nowhere if we don't.
Yeah, I want to come in on the style of politics that we want to basically establish with a new left alliance. Like when we had the meeting with the social party today, basically we call for a grassroots community, if you like, mass assembly style of politics, which the Davis originally set up now. It's moved somewhat forward to a more reformist politics now, but with the water charges, we are doing the street meetings, and some were quite big, 50 to 100, but in reality what we want really in the long term is to move beyond the parliamentary style of politics, because let's be honest with you, we've had 99 years of absolute shambles of corruption and rotten politics, and what we really want now, like we're going to try and have in our local areas in Ringsend, Rathmines and Mount Talent around the water charge in terms of getting street meetings to build visible opposition to the water charge. That's really the kind of politics we want, where local democracy really is what it means under the tin, and that's what People for Profit stands for, and that's what we want any local alliance to sign up to, because just electing Breed or Paul Murphy or any of the other left people to the Dáil, it's not the end game. It's a progressive step, but what we really want is people to have be the arbitrators of what kind of politics we want in this country, and not Parliament. Thank you.
Very good.
People before profit talent. There's a point I think that hasn't been touched on here regarding getting involved in people before profit, and it's this: that there are large sections of the working class that are so pissed off by the 2.5 party state that we've had here since its inception, that they are completely turned off politics and they don't actually come out and vote. Now, where I am, the turnout in some places could be as low as 20%. And we've got to get that vote out, because I can tell you this with absolute certainty, that Dennis O'Brien and those of his sympathisers will be forced up to the ballot box. We've got to get our people out, and the way to do it is get involved with People Before Profit and show people that there is a real alternative. That it's not the same old crap again. It's not Tweedledee, Tweedledum. We've a chance to break the mould here, because the Conservative parties, who had it their own way for donkey's years, it's not that way anymore. This thing is on a cusp. It's there to be grasped, but we have to get out and do it.
Very good.
Pat Rooney, Sligo People Before Profit. This is a class war. There's always been a class war, but now it's out in the open. The gloves are off. And you win it battle by battle, and the one battle we have to win. And if we lose the water battle, we're going back. We'll be back. The left will be back 30 years at least. People will say it's always the same. The left, they'll either break up or they'll lose. We have to win the water. Everything matters to me is the water. All the other issues are there, and their day will come as well. But this has to be won. Water has to be won. And if and when it's won, the people will come along with you then. Now you drag people in. But if they see it lost, if by next year it's disappeared, people say, it's always like that. It was the same with you. They don't really understand what the fight is, but they do understand. We lost the household charges. We're paying it. The water charges. More people have said that to me. Look, you have to pay it. So didn't we pay the other one? We'll have to pay it. In the end, we'll have to pay it. So the most important thing for any political party, any left party, is win that battle. Win the water battle first.
Yeah.
Everything else will fall in.
Yeah.
But if that's lost...
Yeah, I'm following on from that. And the first thing in terms of what I would say, why am I involved in People Before Profit? Look, what I would say is this, right? We know Ireland and Europe are very rich places. We know it because the best statistics have said that for every euro that we have in debt, some people, rich people, have €6 in wealth, right? So the crisis that we have been forced to take on has been a choice of political elites. In other words, it's not a necessity, it's what they choose to do when their economy isn't working for them. And notice, it's not a crisis for their families. Their kids are fine, their wives are fine, their husbands are fine, they're fine, they have their nice private school, they have a life. The crisis, the social crisis, is for the vast majority of ordinary people. So their economy might be in crisis, but our lives are in crisis, and that's the point I'd make. Now, what do we offer? We offer the politics that says, if we can mobilise lots of us, massive amounts of people, it will increase their confidence in themselves, and increase confidence that we can actually build something different. And so, it's not that the wealth isn't there, it's there. But we have to get over two things. First, we have to know that. We have to know that for sure, the wealth is there. And then we have to know that we deserve it, because we create it. And therefore, if we go for that and we get that, then you start to build a movement. Do people before have all the answers? We don't. We don't have all the answers. That's why we need you. We need anyone who isn't involved to tell us what they think we should be doing in their area. But I'll just give you a couple of little things to finish in terms of what we do in Sligo. Because
I'm very proud of what we've done in Sligo. We have stood with the people in Globe House. We've called into the people in Globe House who are in the horrible system, asylum system, for years and years. We've made links with them. When the home help women, predominantly working class, as this guy said, that's just a quick hand, you know, lower middle class, working women basically, who go into the community and help people, who give them a bit of a human contact, who help people in terms of giving them a sense that there's someone there for them. When they were being attacked by the government, we stood with them. We helped to build a movement with them people. When the government tried to take the property tax, we were at the forefront of that campaign. When the water charges came along, we went in and stood in the meters with people. Yeah. We knocked in to give people confidence with the doors. So that's what People Before Profit do on an everyday basis. So we want to think big, but we act locally. And therefore, if you want to do that with us, come on and get involved. Well done. One last thing. We also got involved in the Yes campaign. It's very important. We have young members who've got involved in this because they want liberation, they want equality, they want a decent society, and we want a yes vote in the marriage equality campaign.
Max said, what about, you know, should we be careful about using the term working class and so on? And I know what you mean, but at the end of the day, what's happening at the moment is that whole swathes of what was called the middle class is now becoming working class. Because when John talks about what's happening in Cadbury's, it's happening also in white-collar jobs. When we talk about zero-hour contracts in Duns, it's affecting lecturers, all sorts of people.
Sons and daughters.
So we have to, like they say in America, you know, the 99, maybe not as big as 99%, but it's nearly as big as 99%. So what we have to be, and that's why People Before Profit is so well placed, is to be the voice of the people who are suffering, who thought they never would under capitalism. So we have to be the voice for that. Just secondly, on the voice of the movement itself. Because Deirdre was saying, you know, the red line issue. I think for Sinn Féin and us, the red line issue is your voice of the movement. Are they the voice of the water movement? Somebody said it's the key movement. It is the key movement. And they haven't been a good voice on the water charges. They couldn't decide whether they were going to boycott it or not. And today they're not there. And wait, if they get into government, I don't trust them an inch to put through that. How demoralising will that be? So we have to say, we don't want another Labour Party type run. And there are elements in Sinn Féin that are quite similar. I remember in the unions, they were always for social partnership and stuff. There are elements of Sinn Féin, not all of them, and on the ground there are decent people, and you're right, we should win those. But at the end of the day, we have to build a radical alternative that is going to be able to be the voice of the water charges and the voice for same-sex marriage, the voice against discrimination. And here is our chance. So everybody really has to get involved with People Before Profit. Time is short. We've got about 6 months to really do this. So we really need to get involved and on to that.
Hi everyone, my name's Chris Wakefield, I'm from Rochford Bridge in County Westmeath.
You? Westmeath.
You got a clap for being from somewhere. I started off campaigning against the water charges on my own, and it was very, very stressful, and I met some great people along the way. And we evolved into a People Before Profit branch, because I met Gino Kenny and I met Derek Bourne marching on Dublin Says No, and they gave me the courage and the balls to stand up against this, carry on. And we've been having community assemblies, and we've been stopping water meter installations, etc., etc., in our village, and we've cost them a fortune. They bent the shit out of me a couple of times because they just hate me. They took pictures of me and sent it to the employer to try and get me sacked and everything. I'm really proud of that. But we've evolved into a People Before Profit branch, and we have community assemblies. Myself, Jimmy and Philomena here. And I'm just thinking, right, we're always rabbiting on about the water charges, but there's something else. The elephant in the room is TTIP, and we're not talking about it. Now, for the people that don't know, we were trying to figure out, we were strategizing, you know, how can we make, and I know you said the working class, well, how can we explain in layman's terms what TTIP is, what it entails, and how it will affect your daily life? So, the way we sell it to people is, we stand up and we go, how would you feel if you went to the supermarket and you bought yourself, what, a chlorinated chicken that was genetically engineered. You picked up some... I mean, it's the truth. And they're looking at you, right? So you picked up a bag of GM potatoes and GM carrots, right? So then, on your way along the frozen aisle, you pick yourself up some hormone-injected beef, okay? Right? And then you buy some new American product of baby food, which will stifle your child's development. And they're saying, what's this about? And I says, it's called TTIP. And they're looking at me, oh, what's that got to do with me? And I says, well, think about it. What TTIP is a bilateral trade agreement which covers 40% of global GDP. And it's basically designed to break down tariffs and barriers that would inhibit trade and movement of goods and services between the two biggest economies in the world. And they're looking at me, and they're, think about it. What TTIP is basically privatisation of everything. Everything is up for sale with TTIP. So I said to them, how would you feel if your kids got sick from the shite you bought in Walmart in Ballyfermot? Because that's what will happen. Be rest assured, you'll have a Walmart there about 10 stories high in Ballyfermot, right? 0 hour contract, so that's it, Judy, don't forget that, right? Seriously, like, so we turned around. So anyway, right? Then we said, think about the environmental impacts of TTIP. And they're, well, sure, what's that got to do with me? And they're, well, if you think about it, you can go and frack, and you can smash millions of litres of water and undisclosed chemicals down into the ground and sand to extract shale gas. And it will destroy the water table, it will contaminate the soil, and it will destroy our agriculture. Because we live in the Midlands, you know, so there's a good, strong agricultural group there, you know. So we're trying to sell this TTIP thing to tell them it's a bad deal for consumers, etc., etc. So then we were saying about, like, internet privacy. Will the NSA gather information? Will corporations go along and steal information and gather more information about us? So they got scared. And I said, sure, what can we do about fracking as well? What can you do about it? And they're there, well, I don't know. Says, there's nothing you can do if TTIP goes ahead because they have an ISDS mechanism. And that's Investor State Dispute Settlement, which is basically an offshore court of arbitration where, let's say, Lone Pine, for example, want to come in and frack in Ireland and we won't let them. And they can come around and circumvent their courts and bring us to this court with 3 corporate lawyers and sue us. Yeah. And then I gave them examples. So we need to educate people on what's happening. So if we use the example of Philip Morris in Uruguay suing the Uruguayan government for plain packaging for $2 million, and then you have Lone Pine suing the Canadian government because the people of Quebec decided that we want a moratorium on fracking, we need to have an environmental impact assessment, etc. In relation to it. Yes, Vattenfall, exactly. Vattenfall have sued the German government for winding down nuclear power. So you have to emphasise these things. Who picks up the tab? The taxpayer. Egypt with Veolia and the minimum wage. That's a zero. That's another done scenario on the cards. And we need to let people know this. This is bigger than Irish Water, and in relation to Irish Water and TTIP, you have the Trade and Services Agreement, which stipulates once you place a tariff on water, a government can't hold a monopoly. So you need to start doing a bit of research on TTIP and letting everybody know what the right-wing poster boys in the Fine Gael National Corporate Party are doing, and what the Champagne Socialists and Labour are doing as well. So I'm delighted to be a member of the